The invention that changed the world, the printing press. Imagine a time when information was a privilege, locked away in handwritten manuscripts accessible only to the wealthy and elite. Before the mid-15th century, books were rare treasures, symbols of power and status, painstakingly copied by hand over months or even years. But in 1440, a spark of revolutionary genius ignited. German goldsmith Johannes Gutenberg introduced an invention that would alter the course of history: the printing press. This groundbreaking innovation didn't just record history, it created it. In this video, we'll explore the extraordinary impact of the printing press, which transformed art, science, politics, and education, leaving an irreplaceable legacy still felt today. In a pre-printing press world, books were dauntingly scarce. Monks in monasteries worked tirelessly to handwrite texts, often taking months to complete a single volume. Materials like parchment or vellum were expensive and fragile, making books a luxury item few could afford. Education was confined to elite scholars, and spreading ideas was slow, inefficient, and costly. For the majority of the population, literacy was unnecessary. The world's knowledge and culture remained locked away. Amid this restrictive climate, innovation cried out for a solution. What could make knowledge widely accessible, affordable, and reproducible on a large scale? Little did the world know, the answer lay in Mainz, Germany, where Johannes Gutenberg was quietly crafting a device that would change everything. Johannes Gutenberg was born around 1400 in Mainz. A skilled goldsmith by trade, he possessed the mechanical expertise and a deep curiosity needed to challenge the status quo. Gutenberg understood the cultural thirst for knowledge, driven by the Renaissance's resurgence of art and science. Yet, he also recognized the limitations of his era. Information could not spread quickly enough. Determined to solve this, Gutenberg ingeniously combined existing ideas: movable type, screw presses initially used for winemaking, and oil-based inks, to form a functional printing press in 1440. His invention stood as a testament to human ingenuity, one which bridged age-old techniques with cutting-edge mechanics. Unlike handwritten manuscripts, which demanded endless hours of labor, the printing press was elegant in its efficiency. Gutenberg's movable type system involved individual metal letters arranged into words and lines on a composing stick. Once properly aligned, the type was inked and pressed onto paper using a screw mechanism. Compared to handwritten texts, this system allowed vastly faster production. Hundreds of copies of the same text could be replicated with consistent accuracy in a fraction of the time it took to handwrite a single book. Gutenberg's innovation democratized the production of books on a scale never before possible. The ramifications were immediate and profound. Early printed books, including the famous Gutenberg Bible, produced around 1455, sparked an information revolution. Replicated in larger numbers than anyone once imagined, texts became more affordable and accessible to the middle classes, paving the way for higher literacy rates. Where books once cost as much as farmland, producing copies now took only weeks, not years. The scales tipped, no longer privileging the wealthy alone. For the first time, the average citizen could feasibly own and read books. The increase in book availability fueled a cultural shift. Literacy began to spread beyond the confines of monastic life and aristocracy into broader society. Printed works gave people the tools to educate themselves, creating thinkers, philosophers, and innovators from ordinary backgrounds. Schools and universities began using printed textbooks, standardizing educational curricula. Learning flourished as individuals, accessed philosophies, science, and literature from across Europe, breaking barriers of isolation and ignorance. Such widespread enlightenment seemed impossible just decades earlier. The printing press found a natural accomplice in the Renaissance, which had already ignited a revival of art, architecture, and scientific inquiry. The ease of reproducing knowledge unleashed a cascade of collaboration among Europe's greatest minds. From Leonardo da Vinci to Michelangelo and Galileo, the Renaissance flourished under the shadow of Gutenberg's innovation. Books became vessels for human creativity, containing not only Greek and Roman classics rediscovered during this period, but also new experiments, theories, and art perfect for dissemination. The printing press laid the groundwork for Europe's intellectual rebirth, one page at a time. By the 16th century, the printing press became a catalyst for monumental religious shifts, most notably the Protestant Reformation. Martin Luther's 95 Theses, nailed to the church door in 1517, would have remained an obscure act of rebellion had it not been for the printing press. Instead, Luther's ideas were swiftly reproduced and distributed across Europe, challenging the Catholic Church's authority. Within weeks, thousands of copies of his theses reached readers, empowering them to question religious doctrine. The printing press proved a vital weapon in Luther's fight, sending ripples across the Christian world and forever altering its landscape. The steady flow of printed books also provided critical momentum for the scientific revolution. Before the printing press, the spread of scientific ideas was painstakingly slow. However, the invention allowed for the rapid sharing of discoveries, dramatically transforming collaboration among scientists. Consider the work of Galileo Galilei and Nicolaus Copernicus. Their groundbreaking ideas about astronomy and the structure of the universe spread faster and influenced more thinkers than would have been possible without Gutenberg's press. Scientists began building on one another's work across continents, accelerating human understanding of nature and our place in it. Another offshoot of the printing press was its role in birthing modern journalism. The printed pamphlets, broadsheets, and newsletters of the early modern period marked the first step in creating a press dedicated to keeping the public informed. By making information available widely, the printing press empowered citizens with the knowledge to engage with political and social issues. Over time, these early efforts evolved into newspapers, magazines, and eventually mass media as we know it today. In many ways, the printing press planted the seeds for a world connected by information. The world of politics was no exception to the printing press's influence. Revolutionary thinkers like Voltaire and Rousseau benefited immeasurably from the ability to share their ideas with large audiences. Pamphlets supporting ideals of democracy and individual rights fueled France, the American colonies, and countless other regions in their quest for independence and reform. Printed campaigns spread revolutionary flame far faster than verbal or handwritten communications. With the printing press, movements gained clarity, strategy, and support, further cementing their historical contributions. What Gutenberg's printing press achieved in the 15th century can be likened to what the digital revolution has done for the 21st. Just as social media has amplified voices and connected the world, the printing press broke down barriers to knowledge and allowed ideas to flourish. While we now rely on smartphones and online platforms to transmit information, Gutenberg's press laid the foundation. Both inventions reshaped how we learn, communicate, and innovate. The legacy of Gutenberg's printing press is enormous. It created an interconnected world, one driven by shared knowledge and ideas. It introduced professional industries, publishing, bookbinding, and paper manufacturing that still thrive globally today. From the Renaissance to the Reformation, from the scientific revolution to modern media, the printing press has left its indelible mark. Without it, the story of human progress would be unrecognizable. The printing press represents more than a technological breakthrough. It symbolizes humanity's unyielding desire to innovate, to connect, and to share knowledge. Gutenberg's invention served as the catalyst for educational revolutions, cultural renaissances, religious reformations, and political upheavals. This one invention dramatically redefined what human civilization could achieve. In its wake, the world learned, imagined, and dreamed bigger than ever before. Perhaps the greatest testament to its impact is this: even 6 centuries later, every page we read is a quiet echo of Gutenberg's machine. So, as we tap into the world of instant information today, let us not forget the revolutionary journey that began with ink, metal, and one extraordinary man in Mainz.